Hola, 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 es tu chico Joan y bienvenido a mi canal. Alright, so for today's video, we are going to redo my bedroom. So I was back in Florida for all of December and some of November and January, and while I was there, I really wanted to redo my bedroom. It was really dark. It also just had furniture that was oversized for the space. So my mom and I actually listed all of the furniture that was currently in the room on Facebook Marketplace and took that money, and that was the budget that I used to make over the room. So the total budget for this room was $400, which is fantastic. That includes all of the furniture that I'm going to build, everything that I bought, all of the decorations, literally everything was paid for by whatever I had in my wallet at the time and Facebook Marketplace sales. So with that said, let's take a look at the before. Enjoy.
Here's the room with all of the old furniture. As you can see, the furniture is really dark and too big for the space, making it just feel that much smaller and harder to walk around. So, we sold all of the furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and the real fun began. I started off by patching all of the old screw holes with spackle, waited for it to dry, then sanded with 180 grit sanding sponge, followed by a 220 grit sanding sponge until all of the holes were smooth and flush with the wall.
Alright, so I've got some really old paint. I guess not really old. It's a couple of years old. That my mom has just kept around, really nice and tight, and I'm just stirring it to make sure that all of the pigment is mixed in. There's no separation going on. And it's the same color that you see on the walls. It's a little bit hard to see because it's a little bit bright in here. But I'm just going to go ahead and use this to touch up any of the spots that I sanded. And we're gonna do the painting. Get ready for this. Speed round. Blah, blah, blah.
This is by far the easiest and quickest headboard I've made so far. It only requires 3 things: a 4x8 sheet of plywood, a router or a circular saw, and some spackle. So I had an employee at Home Depot cut the plywood down to just slightly wider than my queen bed mattress. With the wood cut to size, I took a palm router with a 1/8 of an inch round over bit to remove any of the sharp edges. Then I went back in with a 1/4 inch straight bit to create these channels on the plywood itself. Then I used some scrap pieces of wood to ensure the spacing between the channels were consistent. The pieces of wood came in handy, and I used them along with some bolts to secure them to the bed frame. These will act as the support for the headboard. So once the headboard was installed, I went in with a sanding sponge to clean up the channels. Then I took my trusty color-changing wall spackle and filled, but actually I overfilled, these channels and let them dry for about 6 hours. As I let the spackle dry, I then took an 8-foot 1x12 piece of pine and some cheap wall brackets to install the shelf above the bed. So, the ceiling fan did not match at all with the new color of the wood, so all I did was I took the blades down and I flipped them over, and to my surprise, there was already a birch-like veneer on them, so I used that. Alrighty folks, here we have a really simple way to dress up, no pun intended, an old Kallax unit you may have lying around. I started off by installing some furniture legs to one of the short sides of the unit. These were purchased from my local Home Depot, as were all of the materials used in this video. And that consists of a leg plate as well as the actual wooden leg that screws into that leg plate. Once the unit was upright, I installed some hinges to the unit I had a piece of underlayment cut to size so that the top two squares on each side would be covered. Then I used some hot glue to attach the wood to the hinges. And finally, we have a fast, customizable art project. I had ordered some picture prints from my local Walgreens, and I purchased some foam boards from the dollar store. This is an easy and affordable way to make a wall collage or just display your pictures on some really cool DIY picture ledges, which you can look at my videos for. And all you need to do is to adhere the pictures to the foam board. That can be done with double-sided tape, construction adhesive, E6000, glue, really anything you might have on hand, and then cut it out. You can also leave a border of the foam board as well. I then used some command strips to secure these foam-backed pictures to the wall itself. Alright, so how did the costs break down? Well, the headboard was about $51, and that was for the plywood, the spackle, and support wood, as well as any additional screws. The IKEA upcycle was about $71, and that was mostly in the actual legs and the hinges, as well as the cabinet door. I then spent about $175 on decorations and any additional furniture, and $79 on anything miscellaneous. That would be paint, sanding blocks, really anything like that. And my grand total is $376.46, so definitely well under my $416 budget. Alright, without further ado, here is the finished project. The space already feels bigger, and I'm lucky that I was able to salvage that giant mirror from my previous bathroom reno video, which you can find linked right here. I also purchased some smart bulbs for the space and rummaged through my mom's house for decor that matched with this mid-century boho aesthetic, is what I'm going to call it. And some more love for these picture ledges that are so versatile and just round out the space so well, and it's so interchangeable and customizable. And I added some bins to the bottom 4 squares of the Kallax for some additional storage. And that's a sneak peek at the bathroom makeover, which is coming soon. So that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some ideas for really simple makeover that is really cost effective. And I hope that the headboard was something that you liked and you want to replicate. It's super easy. You can do it with the router, as I did. You can also just paint the lines there. You can also do it with just a circular saw or even a table saw to create those lines. I've done that before on a coffee table. Yeah, just take a whack at it and see what you can do. So if you liked that video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Ciao! Bye.